Welcome to the Preparedness Therapist. Today I'd like to talk about having a plan. I want to tell you about two friends I've got. One friend was in the computer industry. He was a software programmer and he lost his job. He didn't have a plan, he and his wife. They couldn't pay their mortgage or their car payment. So they lost both of those, their house and as well as their car. They couldn't pay the electricity or the food bills, but they had family who they could call on to help them with that. So they were able to live until he got a job, which is about 7 or 8 months after that. My other friend, as a youngster, was in pretty good shape, and he always just kind of assumed that because he was an athlete as a young person, that he'd always be able to do what he needed to do physically. As it turned out, he went to college, got a degree, ended up in a pretty sedate job, and because of that he ended up letting his body get out of shape. His heart took the brunt of that, and he ended up having a heart attack. He lived, but because of that he had to go through a lot of therapy and rehabilitate himself. He didn't have a plan for exercising. I say that because as individuals who are interested in preparedness, we need to have a plan too. When I go into a building in a city that has more than one floor in it, I, like most people, take the elevator. But I also look for the exits, the stairway exits. And the first time I'm in the building, then I go to the stairways and take them up and take them down, and depending on how big the building is, I find each of the ways to go out. It's always good to have a plan like that. As preppers, it's needful that we have a plan. When we get into a crisis situation, our brain stops working, or at least it stops functioning as good as it does normally. That's why you want to take the good times to make a plan, because when you get into a crisis situation, then you're going to find yourself not being able to think nearly as clearly as you do when you're not in a crisis. And so, my strong recommendation, my encouragement is for you to have a plan. When you're not under stress, come up with an idea of what you're going to do in different scenarios. Most people, when they go into the airplanes, they don't listen to the instructions about where the emergency exits are. And it's shown that most individuals will go out some of the main exits and not the ones over the wings. That's because they just follow the crowd. But it's good to have a plan. It's good to listen to the emergency instructions from those who know, and then to follow through with that if you ever need it. Hopefully you'll never need it. It's good to come up with a plan right now, save some money to carry you through for a few months to pay your bills. It's good to come up with a plan for your retirement, not just temporarily, not just with the money, but also with your body. Are you going to exercise right now so that you can enjoy yourself later on? I know so many people who don't have the health that they want to have because they're not prepared. They didn't have a plan physically, and they let themselves go physically. So that's one of the things I'd encourage you to do, is have a plan. I look at my friends and I look at myself and I think, well, there's always areas that I can plan better. But when you get into a crisis situation, that is not the time to create a plan. Your amygdala, which is a little almond-shaped part of your brain right in the middle of it, when you get in a crisis, it's not sure where to send it. It just stops working very well. And so it's been shown that our thoughts are scattered when we're in a crisis situation. But if we have a plan, we can already go to it. And then we've already thought through the scenario or something very similar to it. So that's what we need to do. That's what I encourage you to do. Thanks for watching The Preparedness Therapist. Spread the word, like and subscribe to this, and ask others to do that, so that we can, the more of us that there are prepared, the better we're going to be when we get to a shiz situation. Thanks for watching.